Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai, Bashim Rakakdash. I want to give double honor to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone who were well and teach well with sound doctrine, and peace and blessings to your elect. Now, this is the brother Hakam Banyam, coming back at you once again. And as you can see, there's this brother. He basically sent me the link to his video and was talking about where he's talking about two dreams I have, if I'm not mistaken. I just kind of watch it to see if I, can pull up any precepts that I can think of whilst this video is playing. I may put it I'll put the link to this video in the description of this video in case any of you brothers want to take a look, or what do you call it, or do a response as well. But let me go ahead.
Shalom. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai. I want to give double honors to the elders of Great Millstone who told me this truth, and peace and blessings to the hopeful elect. And basically, this video is on faith, and I'm just gonna get a couple of scriptures, and also I'm gonna tell you about my two dreams that I had. First, I'm gonna open with a scripture, which is Joel 2. And 28, and it says, and it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, your old men shall dream dreams, and your young men shall see visions.
And that's a great precept that you just pulled out, because even in the time we're in now, you have people that are not even in the truth. You having dreams of Yahweh. People are dreaming of Yahweh's return. I had this woman that she said she had a dream of the Lord's return, and he looked nothing like how she was told. He came back and he was angry, and that's how the Lord's return is gonna be.
For this first dream, basically what happened was I was walking on the road, and I was saying to myself, I can fly, I believe I can fly. And so what I did was I started to run, and I was running, and then I just jumped and stuck my arms out like this, and I started flying, and I was smiling to myself thinking, I knew I could do it. It's been inside me all this time. And while I was flying, I saw people that I used to know in the world, and they were basically marveling, looking, shouting my name.
Yeah, in other words, that people that would have mocked him, for this walk that he's taking, friends that he previously had in the world, when he was in this dream, they're seeing him flying and they're in astonishment. They can't believe what they're seeing. And you gotta take into account when, if like someone that even if it's acquaintance or of them, especially in a time like Jacob's trouble that's coming up, you're gonna try to be all buddy with that person as much as you can. And that's how the Lord. That's when it comes into fruition. The Lord say that He will give us praise and fame in every land we will put to shame. Yeah, that's gonna happen in the kingdom to the highest level. But it's also gonna happen in this side, especially when these things that we're talking about comes to pass and people start seeing miracles, miracles that they're wise scientists and whatnot cannot explain. Because everything right now they try to rationalize. Oh, this is because of this. This happens because of that. This happens because of that. But it's gonna get to a point where they're gonna go to them, but they ain't gonna have the answers. Just like you gotta take it to, you got what do you call it? You got visualize what happened in the time of Noah. At that point, they wouldn't have been they wouldn't have been like backwards or anything like that. They would have been, there's nothing new on the sun. They would have been industrial. They would have been, they would have prideful. You would have guys 13 foot. They would have had, they would have been proud of what they have. They would have, they would have had their thing going on. And you gotta take into account Noah was prophesying about the flood coming, and you can imagine that they were scoffing and scorning. But when the flood actually came, and when that first drop of water came, you can imagine them asking their scientists, hey, break this one down for me, please, because we're not sure what's going on. We didn't actually believe what this guy was saying was gonna happen. Can you kind of explain what on earth is going on? And you can imagine the scientists, give me a little bit to kind of think and see what's going on. And just like you have today, you have the prideful people that would, you know what? I'm not scared of any war, any flood coming, because I can swim to the nearest land, or to the nearest platform to stand on until safety comes. But here it is, that flood came and it was like a wrecking ball, or the biggest tsunami that you would ever have seen. I'm just trying to put it into context, because when a tsunami comes on land, it basically it rips through everything. And just like this flood, it would have torn through everything in its path. And of course, animals in the sea, they would have been like fish and whatnot. They would have been all right, because their habitation is in the sea, so it wouldn't have made much difference to them. But anyway, let me continue this. I remember a precept I was gonna get. Maybe it'll come to me.
and basic stuff like that. And that's basically the first dream I had. It was pretty short, but yeah, I wanted to get a precept to link with that little dream I had. And it says Isaiah 40 and 31. It says, "But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles, and they shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint." And this second dream, this this one,
I can, and before it continues, just like I was saying before, this is gonna be happening, like, when they coming in like a flood, they gonna be seeing people getting healed. Now I don't know what time exactly people are gonna start getting healed, because but we know from the scripture that the Lord said, what let me go to it. It's in Acts, so I can't remember exactly where. Salakia, bear with 1 minute. Salakia, it's in John. So this is John 14 and 12. Verily, I say unto you, he that believeth on me, the works that I do, he do, Salakia, the works I shall do, he do, Salakia, I don't know what's going on. Salakia, the works that I do shall he do also, and greater works than these shall he do, because I go unto my Father. And we know that all the acts. Yeah. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, I know what I was thinking of. No, let me just jump to the contained. I just a little addition to what we were saying before. It says in John 21 and 25, and there are also many other things which Yahushua did, you know, the which, if they should be written every one, I suppose that even the world itself could not contain the books that should be written. So he did. We have an idea of some of the things he did, like he healed people, and he even disappeared. I was gonna say dematerialized, but I wasn't sure if that was the right word to use. But he even disappeared. You know, there's certain accounts in the gospel, of when all the people, like when the people were there, Yahushua would just disappear in the midst of the crowd. And of course, that one which I was speaking of, that's when he resurrected. But still, you gotta imagine all these miracles, bringing back people back to life, healing the sick, doing turning water to wine, doing all these wondrous things. And it's written in this precept that we just got here, that all the things that he did could not be contained in all the books, and it was just stated by the Lord in John the 14th chapter that greater, he's greater works we shall do, because he's gonna go into his Father. So it's hard to fathom, that greater things than what the Lord was doing on the scene are gonna happen, because things are really gonna elevate to the highest level, being as what time we're in. And when a lot of time when people see these things happening, like that's gonna what do you call it, uh that's gonna make people believe as well, because certain people have to see it to believe it. But like when it happen, but if the Lord has it to where, oh, this and this happens to them, but he has it to where a man of the Lord heals them, just just so that they can be brought in, then that's how it happens. But anyways, Salakia, talking too much.
I never would have thought. I'm lost for words because I ever had a dream like this. It was it was amazing. So basically, um, I was in my mum's room, and I was in there with my wife, and basically, we were talking, and my mum said something to my wife that offended her, so she ended up going downstairs. So I was thinking, let me go after and see like what's happening in it. So I come downstairs. I'm looking in the living room. She's not there. I'm going to the kitchen. She's not there. I go outside, and she's just standing there in the middle of the garden. So I walk over to her, and then all of a sudden, I see these three lights in the sky, and they were the color of amber and fire. There were these small orbs, but I know they were the chariots because in the scriptures it mentions them as thinking being the color of fire and amber. And yeah, I saw three of them. They were in
No, in fact, I know the precept that he's talking about. Actually, let me see if he goes to it.
I might as well get the precept for about the chariots. So yeah, in total, when I seen them, there was six, and they were in the what's it called doing the formation that the birds normally fly in, which is the V formation. And there's another preset on that, which I'll get. Yeah, and this is Ezekiel 1:4, and said, and I looked and beheld. Slakia, Mr. again. And I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud, a fire enfolding itself, and a brightness was about it, and out of the midst thereof as the color of amber, and out of the midst of the fire. So there was these three chariots just flying over me.
All right. Yeah, let's go. Let me. Salakia. Yeah, this is a chapter that he was really going into. It's Ezekiel, the first chapter. Um, well, I want to jump down a little bit. I really get into how the angels are really able to control the movement of the chariot. It's almost like it's tuned into their spirit. So when they turn, the chariots turn as well. Hold on, where's that? Mm. Uh, Ezekiel 1:12. And when and they went everyone straight forward. Whether the spirit was to go, they went. So in other words, he was in tune with their spirit. So wherever the spirit wanted to, so where the spirit wanted to go, it literally just says it. The chariot would go also. So no need to like, Esau be bringing out all these quote unquote documentation, all these chariots crashing, all the sex stuff, man. These chariots are far beyond, you know, far beyond your understanding, man. Far beyond your understanding. Um, as for the likeness of the living creatures, their appearance was like burning coals of fire, and like the appearance of the lamps, it went up and down among the living creatures, and the fire was bright, and the fire went forth. And the fire went forth lightning, and the living creatures ran and returned as the appearance of a flash of lightning. So anyway, let me just reread over the 18th verse. I can't remember where I'm up to. Ezekiel 1:18. As for their rings, they were so high that they were dreadful, and their rings were full of eyes around about them. So the ring is simply referring to the chariot, because chariots refer to, especially these ones in Ezekiel, referred to as a wheel in the middle of a wheel, and these eyes, nothing but like windows that you can see out of, because you can't mean to tell me that you know they had these chariots, but there's nothing to look out of. Of course, they have windows. You know, these chariots are lavish, man. And when the living creatures went, the wheels went by them, and you know what? I'll just reread over it if I've read it. And when the living creatures were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up. So, like I said before, well, I can't even, they were in unison. Like the spirit and the child were just joined together, man. Whithersoever the spirit was to go, they went whither. Uh, they went thither was their spirit to go, and the wheels were lifted up over against them, for the spirit of the living creatures was in the wheels. So, like I said before, they were in unison. Wherever the spirit wanted to go, the wheel, that's where the chariot was going. When those went, these went. And when those stood, these stood. And when those were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up over them. For the spirit of the living creatures was in the wheels, and the likeness of the firmament upon their heads of the living. Oh no, this is the up of the Salakia of the living creatures was as the color of terrible crystals stretched forth over their heads, and that's nothing but the firmament, man. And I could, continue reading on down, but just wanted to get straight to the point. Let's go back to the video.
Um, in the V formation, which the preset for that is is Isaiah 31:5, which says, "As birds flying, so will the Lord of hosts defend Jerusalem. Defending also, he will deliver it, and pass it over, he will preserve it." And yeah, first three came off on my head. A lot of Marvin smiling, and then another three came over my head. At this point, I'm losing my mind. Like, yo, the chariots are right there. And I ended up taking out my phone. I was recording the 6 chariots just flying in the V formation. I accidentally knocked my wife over, and she basically fell on the floor. But I kept recording because this is something you don't see every day. And she ended up going into the house, and I was still outside by myself, and I had my phone up like this, going to call her lawyer Howard, but Shema Howard Share. And And then, this is the crazy part. This is the crazy part. All of a sudden, the clouds came down in the form of a tornado. And then all of a sudden,
It doesn't say that in the scriptures even back in Egypt. What was it? The chariot was a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night.
the clouds started parting. And then there was thousands upon thousands.
Psalm 68 and 17 has that written all over it. Let's go to it. Let's go to it. This is Psalm 68 and 17. The chariots of God are 20,000, even thousands of angels. The Lord is among them, as in Sinai in the holy place. And this is referring to simply when the chariots come back, it's gonna be an innumerable multitude. But like you you could walk somewhere, you could run for 10 miles, and just to get away from a chariot, and then you look up and you still see it covered in chariot. You still see the sky covered in chariots. You could get a boat, go to a boat on the other side of the world. You see the same situation of the whole sky covered with chariots. Because the chariots, when when the Lord comes with his chariots, they're literally gonna cover the sky, man. And especially the Father's chariot. Listen, that's gonna be something else, man. Yeah, that's let's go back to it.
Thousands upon thousands of these fiery amber chariots going round in a circle like a tornado. It was absolutely amazing, man. And I think the brother, I think there's a video of the chariots going around like that, so you could get like an idea of what I'm talking about. Let me see if I can find it. The brother literally uploaded it a few days ago. Hopefully you can see it. So imagine.
So, although we can see certain things that happen with chariots on a day-to-day basis at this point, because chariot signs are all-time high. Especially last year. Everyone was seeing chariots. You know, people would record. It was like, oh, what's this? What's going on? What's this? And bearing in mind, it's only the start of the year. Quote unquote, the start of 2022. So, and we know that this year is going to be, it's going to be, the heat's going to be turned up, a lot more than it was last year. So you got to take into account, what's going to happen this year? Because even though we may have these dreams, or we may have a vision of what we think is going to happen when the Lord returns, or a vision of our deliverance, or a dream of our deliverance that may be beyond words. Guess what? When the deliverance actually happens, it's gonna by far top that, man. That's how great it's gonna be. This deliverance is gonna far surpass what happened in Egypt, and this deliverance gonna be forever remembered, man.
This, but there was even more. There was thousands upon thousands of them. Thousands upon thousands of these chariots, all the color of fire and amber, flying around like a tornado. And then I'm praising Yahweh Shai, saying, and this is what I think. I also said this after I was praising Yahweh Shai. I I said Yahweh Bashem Haushai, Babakashah, which means please in the Hebrew. And I said, can you show me Leviathan? And then all of a sudden,
that was the end of the dream that I went to pretty much focus on. Being as it is quite a long video, but any brothers can check out the video and you know do a response on a certain section if if you want to. But closing out, I want to get Wisdom of Solomon, the 5th chapter. Yeah, I'm gonna start verse 1. This is Wisdom of Solomon 5 verse 1. Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him, and made no account of his labors. When they shall see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, because although we have been speaking of these things, they are not hearkening, and they still not expecting it to happen. And what will happen when these chariots come back? It's gonna be in a complete different level, because there's a difference between like you understanding something is gonna happen, you even saying something's gonna happen, and then you actually being there in the situation where this thing is happening, where the great thing has happened. It's a completely different feeling. And shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all they looked for. And they, repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit, shall say within themselves, this was he whom we sometimes had in derision, proverb and a proverb of reproach. And they're gonna be ashamed. They're like, yo, this is the guys, we may look down on. We thought we were stupid. We thought we were wasting their time. But wait, these are the guys that are chosen. That's when they go. That's gonna be when they're really regretting what's happened. And that's where the saying comes from. I wish I could go back in time and change that. But guess what? You ain't gonna have the chance to go back in time, man, because you're gonna have to face your judgment right there. And if you're an Israelite, the Lord gonna have mercy on you, because you're gonna come back in the kingdom anyway, and you're gonna be blessed anyway. But other nations, poof, that's a wrap. But in closing, anyway, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bashim Yahushua, Bashim Karkadash. Till next time, Shalom.